The human settlement of Epsilon Prime was under siege, and for the first time in history, the galaxy watched with quiet disbelief. Thousands of alien warships, each bristling with railguns, plasma turrets, and energy shields, formed a perfect blockade around the planet. From orbit, Admiral Vrax of the Zytheri Dominion observed the blue and green sphere with the calm arrogance of a conqueror. No reinforcements would arrive. No one could breach the blockade. Humanity was isolated, doomed. But the humans were never predictable. Captain Elena Ward stood on the bridge of the small but nimble cruiser Sentinel. The ship had endured dozens of skirmishes in the outer colonies, and though battered, it remained fully operational. Sensors flickered, holographic displays danced with real-time tracking data, and every crew member moved with disciplined precision. Ward's eyes scanned the array of Zytheri vessels encircling the planet, calculating trajectories, energy levels, and potential weak points. Every decision mattered. One miscalculation could annihilate them all. The aliens assumed humans would panic. They assumed they would retreat. They assumed predictability. They were wrong. A minor alarm blared as a squadron of Zytheri interceptors approached the planetary atmosphere. Ward's voice was calm but firm. Lieutenant Harrow, deploy the decoy drones. Launch them in a spiral formation. Shields at 50%, ready for pulse diversion. The bridge hummed as commands were executed flawlessly. Miniature drones scattered outward, each one broadcasting false signals, each one creating confusion among the alien sensors. The Zytheri fleet slowed, unsure which signals were real. In seconds, several interceptors collided with the drones, their shields overloaded. A small but critical victory. Status. Ward asked. 10 enemy fighters destroyed, shields holding, Lieutenant Harrow reported, his tone a mixture of pride and disbelief. Good. Keep pressure on. They'll adapt, but so will we. The Dominion's arrogance was palpable. In the observation ring above the fleet, alien officers monitored the engagement with overconfidence. They cannot last. They will collapse, one of them hissed, mandibles clicking. Their fleet is weak, their strategy primitive. Humanity is isolated. The irony was subtle but delicious. Every human move was deliberate. Every reaction, calculated. They were improvising in ways the aliens could not predict. The Zytheri had designed the siege assuming uniform patterns of response. Humans were proving otherwise. On the surface, civilian evacuation pods drifted slowly toward orbit. Engineers had rerouted energy grids, creating temporary shields from abandoned mining satellites. Laser fire from the alien fleet shredded through empty space, but the shields absorbed the worst of it. Humans were buying time, and time was a weapon. Ward's attention returned to the tactical display. She noticed a subtle fluctuation in one of the alien ship's energy signature. That cruiser, she said quietly. It's overloading its plasma banks. Divert attack vector. Target its port side. Lieutenant Harrow adjusted the targeting system. Microseconds later, the human frigate's laser array fired, striking the precise weak point. The cruiser erupted in a controlled chain reaction, disintegrating before it could respond. Another victory. Minor, perhaps, but meaningful. The Dominion watched, unease spreading through the observation ring. How are they doing this? One alien analyst muttered. Our calculations indicate collapse. Yet they persist. The answer was simple. Humans thrived under impossible odds. They had survived environmental collapse, invasions, and cosmic catastrophes that no other species could endure. Their ingenuity was their armor, their adaptability, their shield. And in the Sentinel, Captain Ward embodied that human tenacity. Ward leaned against the console, calculating the next sequence. Signal the Leviathan, she said. Her voice held calm authority. It's time. In the void beyond the nebula, a shadow began to resolve, a massive silhouette, golden engines flaring against the darkness. The Titan-class human battleship had arrived. Its presence alone altered the battlefield. Alien officers paused, recalculating probabilities, realizing that their carefully plotted victory was no longer guaranteed. But Ward did not yet celebrate. The battle had only begun. Every maneuver, every calculation, every sacrifice would be tested in the hours to come. The Zytheri assumed humans were doomed. They assumed no help was coming. They were about to discover just how wrong they had been. Because humanity never surrendered. They adapted. They endured. And they fought with a cunning that the galaxy would not soon forget. The human fleet had bought precious hours, but the Zytherai Dominion was relentless. Every ship moved with precision, their tactics honed over centuries of conquest. Their confidence, however, was their blind spot. They assumed human weakness where none existed. They assumed predictability where only ingenuity thrived. Captain Elena Ward monitored the sensor feeds aboard the Sentinel. The orbital perimeter around Epsilon Prime was tense, alive with movement. Squadrons darted in spirals, plasma trails tracing arcs through the blackness of space. Shields flared intermittently, a testament to both human resilience and alien persistence. Ward's jaw tightened. One misstep would annihilate the evacuation pods still ascending from the planet's surface. "Lieutenant Harrow," she said, voice calm yet sharp, "prepare for synchronized volleys. Coordinate with the Leviathan's approach vector. Keep civilian corridors clear." Harrow nodded, adjusting holographic targeting overlays. "Acknowledged. Minor vectors aligned. Ready to fire on your mark." Beyond the nebula, a massive silhouette emerged, the Titan-class battleship Leviathan. Its hull glowed faintly, engines simmering with energy drawn from centuries-old reactors retrofitted with the latest human technology. It moved with deliberate elegance, weaving between gravitational anomalies to approach the enemy from an unexpected angle. The Zytherai AI attempted to predict its trajectory, but it was futile. The Leviathan did not follow patterns, it created them. The first volley was devastating. Plasma torpedoes, guided by precise human calculations, tore through the lead alien cruisers. Their shields faltered, hulls erupted, and entire squadrons disintegrated before they could react. Alien observers blinked in disbelief. "Impossible," muttered one analyst. "Their firepower shouldn't reach this efficiency without superior numbers." "Humans are never just about numbers," Ward said softly to herself. "They are about solutions." As the Leviathan pressed forward, the smaller human vessels coordinated attacks. Decoy drones forced enemy formations to scatter, exposing blind spots. Electromagnetic pulses scrambled targeting systems, while precision laser strikes disabled critical subsystems. Each maneuver was measured, deliberate, and adaptive. Every minor victory accumulated, building pressure on an enemy that believed victory inevitable. On the planet's surface, engineers continued their own subtle revolutions. Temporary energy shields, improvised from old mining satellites, absorbed stray fire, allowing evacuation pods to ascend safely. Civilians, unaware of the full scale of the battle, trusted the humans' brilliance. Humans had always turned scarcity into advantage. This was merely another example. Ward studied the display, noting the Zytherai fleet's hesitation. "They are recalculating," she said. "Now is our opportunity." She issued a series of rapid commands. "Flank left, microfleet Epsilon, vector 47. Pulse diversion at 60%. Harrow, synchronize Leviathan's main cannons with secondary frigates." Seconds later, the coordinated attack struck like a hammer. Alien ships collided under concentrated fire, shields overloaded, weapons systems offline. The Dominion's confidence began to crumble. They had relied on overwhelming numbers and flawless coordination. Humans, however, exploited every weakness, adapting faster than the aliens could predict. An unusual signal flickered across the sensors. A Zytherai dreadnought had attempted a direct assault on the Leviathan. Ward's eyes narrowed. "Targeting override. All fire on dreadnought's starboard hull. Use micro-adjustments for optimal impact." The Leviathan responded instantly. Its main guns, massive yet precise, fired in tandem with human frigates. The dreadnought's shields failed within moments, hull breaches erupting across its surface. Debris scattered into the void, a visual statement of human ingenuity and precision. The observation ring above the battle became tense with disbelief. Alien officers, accustomed to dominance, found their calculations meaningless. "Our strategy is failing," one hissed. "They are not just surviving, they are countering, anticipating." Ward allowed herself a brief smile. Humans had always excelled in the unanticipated, thriving where others faltered. Strategy was not merely about firepower, It was about intelligence, improvisation, and moral clarity. She could see it now. Every move the Dominion made was feeding into human adaptability. As the battle reached its midpoint, Ward received a feed from Planetary Command. Evacuation pods were in position, surface shields holding against minor orbital bombardment. The human population, for now, was safe. Yet the fight was far from over. Ward took a deep breath. She knew that winning the battle required more than destroying ships. It required breaking the enemy's assumptions. The Zytheri believed humans would panic under isolation. They believed humans could be crushed by numbers. They believed no aid was coming. They were about to learn how wrong those assumptions were. The Leviathan's engines fled, signaling readiness for a final approach. Ward's voice resonated across the bridge. Prepare for coordinated strike. Every vessel in formation. Today, we show them why humanity survives against all odds. In the silence before action, there was understanding among the crew. They were more than soldiers. They were the embodiment of human ingenuity, endurance, and strategic brilliance. And as the Leviathan advanced, the Dominion's arrogance began to crumble under the weight of a species it had long underestimated. The first wave of the counteroffensive was about to begin. The Leviathan loomed like a silent predator, its golden engines cutting through the void with purpose. Captain Elena Ward watched the alien fleet on the tactical display, noting every hesitation, every miscalculation. The Zytheri Dominion, confident in centuries of conquest, had underestimated humanity's capacity for improvisation. That arrogance would prove fatal. Lieutenant Harrow, plot an intercept vector through the nebula cluster, Ward ordered. We'll force them into terrain they cannot control. Shields at 80%, pulse diversion ready. The bridge responded with fluid efficiency. Every crew member moved with synchronized precision, a well-oiled machine under extreme pressure. Outside, the Leviathan adjusted its trajectory, weaving between gravitational distortions, its massive hull reflecting fragments of starlight. The Zytheri AI struggled to predict its path. Their algorithms failed against human unpredictability. The first wave of alien vessels advanced, plasma cannons flaring. Ward's fleet executed a deceptive retreat, drawing the aliens into a corridor littered with debris from previous skirmishes. Mines detonated in precise sequences, forcing enemy ships to scatter. The Dominion's command chain strained to compensate, miscommunications rippling through the formation. Minor victory secured, Lieutenant Harrow reported. Enemy squadrons disrupted. Shields holding. Ward nodded. Good. But this is just the beginning. They think confusion is temporary. We'll make it permanent. As the Leviathan emerged from the nebula cluster, its main guns aligned with astonishing precision. Plasma torpedoes and kinetic projectiles tore through the alien fleet, exploiting gaps in formation and overwhelming shield protocols. Entire squadrons disintegrated in moments, leaving the Zytheri scrambling for control. An alien dreadnought attempted to flank the Leviathan, its massive hull bristling with turrets. Ward's eyes narrowed. Activate synchronized counterstrike. Target starboard hull and propulsion units. Micro-adjust fire in real time. The human fleet responded instantly. Frigates fired in concert, their laser arrays calibrated to exploit structural weaknesses. The dreadnought's shields failed, armor breached, and explosions cascaded across its surface. The Dominion's command was thrown into chaos. Impossible, muttered Admiral Vrax. They cannot withstand this concentrated firepower. Our calculations, our superiority, should prevail. But humans did not operate solely on calculations. They operated on ingenuity, intuition, and adaptation. Each move fed into the next, each improvisation stacking upon prior victories. The Zytheri could anticipate only so much. Human unpredictability became a force multiplier. On Epsilon Prime, civilian evacuation continued without interruption. Engineers rerouted energy grids to maintain temporary shields, countering stray fire. Pods maneuvered safely into orbit. The human population was being protected, not as collateral, but as part of the strategy. Ward understood the moral weight of her decisions. The lives under her command mattered. Survival was tactical, yes, but also ethical. The Leviathan now faced a concentrated barrage from 3 enemy cruisers. Its hull shuddered under impact, but the vessel responded as if alive. Countermeasures deployed, electromagnetic pulses scrambled enemy targeting, reflective panels redirected plasma energy, and precision volleys disabled critical turrets. For every strike the aliens delivered, humans counted twice as efficiently. "Captain," Harrow said, voice tense but steady, "they are attempting a direct boarding maneuver on the outer frigates." Ward's expression hardened. "Prepare anti-boarding fields. Deploy microdrones for intercept. Let them think they've found an opening. They've walked into a trap." In the void, a swarm of alien boarding pods approached. But as they neared, tiny autonomous drones swarmed around them, emitting concentrated energy pulses that disabled propulsion and neutralized threats without destroying the craft. The aliens' plan collapsed before it could begin. Even the smallest human victories had psychological impact. The Zytherai had assumed humans would panic under pressure, that isolation would force surrender. Every thwarted assault, every countermeasure, and every adaptive maneuver eroded their confidence. The Dominion's arrogance, once absolute, was now fragile. Ward leaned back slightly, scanning the display. The Leviathan moved as if orchestrated by her mind, every cannon, every shield, every drone precisely where it needed to be. The alien fleet, vast though it was, had no answer for human strategic brilliance and adaptability. "Lieutenant," Ward said, her voice calm but resolute, "prepare for the final sequence. We hit their command nodes. Simultaneously. Timing is everything." The crew adjusted. Systems hummed in synchronization, ready for coordinated strikes. Outside, the Leviathan glowed, its presence alone a beacon of human ingenuity and resolve. The Zytherai had believed no aid would arrive. They had assumed humans were isolated and predictable. They were wrong. For humanity, the battle was not merely survival. It was a demonstration of intellect, courage, and moral resolve under impossible odds. And as the Leviathan unleashed its coordinated strike, the galaxy would witness a truth long underestimated. Humans do not surrender, they adapt. They do not panic, they innovate. And when cornered, they strike with precision that no arrogance can anticipate. The first wave of coordinated destruction had begun. The tide of battle, once assumed inevitable, was now firmly in human hands. The alien fleet was reeling. What had begun as confident dominance now teetered on uncertainty. The Zytherai Dominion's command nodes were under attack, and their calculations, once infallible, were unraveling in real time. Captain Elena Ward observed the unfolding chaos from the bridge of the Sentinel. Every glance at the tactical display confirmed what she already knew. Humans were rewriting the rules of engagement. "Lieutenant Harrow, adjust orbital grid. Increase interference in their communications by 20%. Keep the civilian pods on Vector 6, Ward ordered, calm and precise." Harrow's hands danced over the holographic console. "Acknowledged, Captain. Interference grids online. Enemy relays scrambling." The aliens were beginning to panic. Messages between their fleets arrived corrupted, delayed, or entirely unreadable. Confusion rippled through squadrons that had once been the embodiment of discipline. Entire formations collided, fired upon each other, and abandoned carefully plotted maneuvers. The Dominion's arrogance, once absolute, now cracked. On the Leviathan, the humans exploited every hesitation. The Titan-class battleship glided through the battlefield like a predator, using energy pulses, cloaked maneuvers, and precisely timed microvolley attacks. Its turrets pivoted with deadly accuracy, each firing sequence designed to dismantle alien shields systematically. It was strategy in motion, a symphony of controlled violence executed with meticulous intent. "Target the central dreadnought," Ward commanded. "Coordinate volleys with frigates Alpha and Beta. Timing must be perfect." The attack was audacious. Alien analysts had predicted human strikes to be scattered and reactive. They were unprepared for coordinated precision under duress. Plasma torpedoes pierced shields, disabling propulsion arrays. Laser barrages shredded external armor, and electronic warfare modules scrambled remaining targeting systems. The dreadnought limped, barely able to maintain formation. Meanwhile, on Epsilon Prime, engineers continued a silent war. Improvised energy shields flickered under bombardment, but they held. Civilian pods navigated through disrupted space lanes, avoiding collisions and enemy fire. Every human action was purposeful. The battle was not just military, it was moral. Lives were protected because humans valued life even under extreme duress. Ward's mind shifted to the larger picture. The Zytheri believed humans would collapse under relentless pressure. They assumed fear would dictate action, that isolation would force surrender. They were wrong. Captain, multiple enemy squadrons attempting flanking maneuver, Harrow reported, tension in his voice. Ward did not flinch. Let them approach. Deploy microdrones in the outer corridor. Force them to split. Then hit both vectors simultaneously. The maneuver unfolded flawlessly. Alien squadrons, drawn into what they believed was an opening, found themselves trapped between concentrated fire from the Leviathan and supporting frigates. Plasma streams and laser fire intersected with precision. Ships exploded, hulls ruptured, and for the first time, alien morale visibly faltered. Even minor victories carried weight. The Dominion had never experienced an enemy that combined tactical brilliance with adaptability. Every minor human success accumulated into a psychological and strategic advantage. The aliens were calculating, predicting, but always one step behind. Status on civilian evacuation. Ward asked, her voice calm yet authoritative. Pods on Vector 6 are in orbit, Captain. Shield stable. No losses, Harrow reported. Ward allowed herself a brief nod. The human population was protected. Every decision, every maneuver, every improvisation had been calculated with both survival and ethics in mind. Humans fought with intellect and conscience, not recklessness. In the alien observation ring, frustration mounted. How are they achieving this? One officer hissed. Our fleet is superior in every measurable aspect. The answer was simple, yet incomprehensible to the Zytheri. Humans were not merely responding. They were creating solutions in real time, exploiting every misstep, and thriving under pressure that would crush any other species. Ward leaned forward over the console, scanning data streams. She initiated the next sequence, a high-risk but necessary maneuver. Prepare the Leviathan for neural grid synchronization. We disrupt their command nodes simultaneously. This is the turning point. The bridge erupted in controlled activity as systems aligned. The Leviathan's massive engines fled, its hull vibrating with contained energy. Human frigates and drones moved in perfect synchronization, a network of intelligence and firepower that left the Zytheri stunned. Outside, the battlefield had transformed. The Leviathan moved with deliberate grace, annihilating, countering, and manipulating the enemy. The Dominion's arrogance was now its vulnerability. Every assumption they had made about human predictability had been shattered. Ward glanced at the crew. There was determination, clarity, and quiet pride. They were humans, ingenious, disciplined, moral, and utterly unyielding. The Leviathan was not just a ship. It was a statement. Humanity would endure, adapt, and triumph. The Zytheri, for all their technology and experience, had met something they could not anticipate, a species that refused to surrender, a fleet that combined intellect, improvisation, and moral resolve, and a captain who had mastered both strategy and improvisation under pressure. And as the Leviathan unleashed its next coordinated strike, it became clear, the tide had shifted irreversibly. Humans were no longer merely surviving, they were dominating. The battle for Epsilon Prime was far from over, but the first cracks in the Dominion's confidence had appeared. Humanity had proven, once again, that no pressure was too great, no odds insurmountable, and no arrogance unpunished. The void was alive with the detritus of battle. Alien ships, once imposing and precise, now drifted in scattered chaos. Smoke trails from ruptured hulls lingered in the vacuum, a silent testament to human ingenuity. Captain Elena Ward stood on the bridge of the Sentinel, watching the Leviathan coordinate the final phase of their counteroffensive. The battle for Epsilon Prime was reaching its climax. Lieutenant Harrow, Ward said, her voice calm yet commanding, initiate final synchronized strike. Target the Dominion command nodes simultaneously. Precision timing is critical. Harrow's hands moved over the holographic interface with practiced ease. Acknowledged, Captain. Vector alignment complete. Strike in T-30 seconds. Beyond the nebula, The Titan-class Leviathan glowed like a beacon. Its massive engines flared with golden brilliance, reflecting centuries of human engineering and adaptive design. Every turret, every microdrone, every laser array moved in perfect coordination. Humans had created a network of firepower, intelligence, and moral resolve that no alien strategy could counter. The Zytherai Dominion scrambled. Their command nodes, the heart of their fleet's coordination, were failing. Signals collided, instructions were misinterpreted, and panic rippled through squadrons that had once believed victory inevitable. Their arrogance, once absolute, had become their greatest weakness. "Captain," Harrow said, tension in his voice, "they are attempting a counterflank with dreadnought-class ships." Ward did not hesitate. "Allow them to advance. Prepare micro-volley traps in vectors 12 and 14. We'll channel their momentum against them." The maneuver unfolded flawlessly. Alien dreadnoughts entered a corridor of debris and strategically deployed drones, unaware that each obstacle was part of a larger, human-designed trap. Plasma fire intersected with precision laser strikes. Shields failed. Engines overloaded. Entire ships disintegrated before they could respond. Even the smallest victories compounded into psychological pressure. The Zytherai had assumed humans would panic, surrender, or flee under overwhelming odds. Each thwarted attack, every adaptive countermeasure, shattered that assumption. Humans were demonstrating not only survival, but dominance. On the surface of Epsilon Prime, engineers and civilians watched from reinforced shelters as orbital defenses neutralized alien threats. Evacuation pods had reached safe orbit. Every human life under their protection had been preserved. Captain Ward's strategy was not merely about victory, it was about safeguarding the innocent, turning tactical brilliance into moral triumph. "Final strike vector confirmed," Ward said. "Leviathan, align main cannons. All supporting vessels, synchronize fire. Timing is everything." The Leviathan responded like a conductor's baton. Turrets pivoted with perfect timing, drones adjusted positions in microseconds, and energy volleys converged on the Dominion's command nodes. The concentrated strike shattered the alien network in a brilliant display of human precision and strategy. Admiral Vrax, observing the battlefield from his flagship, could only watch as the calculations that had once promised victory evaporated. "Impossible," he hissed. "Their fleet, their coordination, it shouldn't exist." But it did. Humanity had survived impossible odds before. They had endured plagues, invasions, and cosmic catastrophes. They had thrived where others had fallen. And now, under Ward's command, they had done the unthinkable, outmaneuvered, outthought, and dismantled a superior alien fleet. As the Leviathan and supporting human vessels swept through the remaining alien ships, Vrax's forces disintegrated. What remained was scattered remnants, fleeing into uncharted space, their arrogance destroyed. Humanity's victory was complete, not through brute force alone, but through strategy, intelligence, and moral resolve. Ward allowed herself a moment to breathe. The crew of the Sentinel mirrored her relief and pride. They had not only survived, they had triumphed in a battle that the galaxy had assumed impossible. Their ingenuity, adaptability, and courage had reshaped the course of this conflict. In the aftermath, the Leviathan's engines flared once more, a symbol of human tenacity and brilliance. The Dominion would remember this day, the first time in millennia that their arrogance had been shattered by a species they underestimated. Humanity had sent a message that would resonate across the stars. Never assume humans are predictable, never assume they will yield, and never doubt their ingenuity. As the crew of the Sentinel observed the remnants of the battlefield, Ward allowed herself a subtle smile. The humans of Epsilon Prime had survived. They had defended their people. They had outsmarted a superior enemy. And the galaxy had witnessed, for the first time, the true measure of human resolve. The battle was over, but the story was only beginning. Humanity had proven its place among the stars, not merely as survivors, but as a species capable of brilliance under pressure, capable of triumph against the impossible. And somewhere in the distance, new stars glimmered, signaling the challenges and opportunities that awaited. But for now, humanity had prevailed, and the Leviathan had thundered into history.